Hi, it's Matt from Go Green Autos. So we have here a Renault Kangoo electric van. It's 100% electric. It's a 22 kilowatt hour battery pack. The battery, which sits there under the floor, is leased. That means that it's Renault's responsibility, and basically you pay £25 plus VAT a month to rent that battery pack, and that battery is then guaranteed to 60% of its original capacity. And you also get breakdown cover included in that. So this one is a little bit unusual because it's metallic silver. Most of these vans are just white, as you probably know. So this one is low mileage. It's done 5,000 miles or so. It's one owner from new. I've got it straight from the lease company, and it's in really nice condition. So primarily the purpose of these videos is to describe the condition, and what that maybe allows is that you can buy the vehicle without coming to view it first, because sometimes there can be long distances involved, and then I'll just deliver the vehicle to you. And because of that, I tend to be quite picky. I also possibly sound quite negative sometimes because I point out every little minor mark, but it means that you know exactly what you're buying. So let's walk around and I'll show the condition of this one. Generally it is very good. You've got to remember it's a van after all, but it's only done 5,000 miles and it's in really nice condition. But there's a few little things I do need to point out, but let's just start at the front. The front bumper is pretty scratch free. It's in really good nick. The badge is starting to peel, as they all do. This blue effect on the badges. The blue effect means it's electric, but it's just a bit of plastic film, but it ages and cracks and starts to peel. Renault were changing these badges under warranty, but if you leave it long enough it does all return back to chrome. Then on the front bonnet there's a couple of scratches there, 4 little scratches, and there's a few more scratches here. I have tried to polish that up. It is a lot better now, but these marks aren't going to come out the paintwork. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 little scratches there, but they're fairly minor, but they are visible if you get close to it. I have put new tyres all round. It's got 4 brand new tyres, and the spare is the original. They weren't worn, it's just the sidewalls were cracking, as they all do on these original Michelin tyres. They get to about this age and tyres just don't last as long as they used to, so it's got brand new tyres all round. The wheel trims are a little bit scuffed on this side. They always generally are, because these wheel trims are unique to the Kangoo ZE. They do protrude rather, and they always catch the curbs, but they're plastic after all. There's a couple of little scratches there on the wing. These wings are plastic, so it's not going to rust. There's a scratch there in the paintwork. There's a couple of scratches around here and 5 or so there. There's a little bit of white paint there. This was used as a maintenance van in an NHS trust. I could see from the paperwork inside the vehicle that was left in there. The rest of that's all good. New tyre, obviously. That wheel trim is immaculate. The back, there's nothing to show you around there, apart from there is a little dent there in the door panel. Oh, I would also just add, this has got these extra security locks all round, and it does have an alarm as well. New tyre, obviously. That wheel trim is great. There is a slight little dent there in the bodywork, but I'm really being picky now. There is a little scratch there, but none of these I think you wouldn't worry about. I'm just having a look down. Oh, minute little indentation there, but really is small. New tyre again. And the final thing is, there is a bit of abrasion there in the paintwork. It was, again, this is plastic, and it was showing the black plastic, so I've dabbed a bit of silver paint in there, but you know, it had taken the paint off. But we're only talking about 1 inch or so, and you stand back and you really don't notice it. So it's got a few wear and tear marks, but nothing serious. And to be honest, you look at this from, you know, what am I standing 2 meters away, and you think, wow, that's a good looking van. Certainly doesn't look the age. And then in the back, it has been freshly ply lined, so it looks really good in the back, and it's quite a pale ply. It's quite unusual. Normally ply is much darker. There's a few little indentations on the door here, a few little scratches, but you always get that. Yeah, crucially, it's in really good nick. I've also replaced the rubber bung up there because those are all missing. And you've got the solid bulkhead there, and you've got the jack. These Kangoos have a full-size spare that hangs up underneath the van. And I'll just show you around the side door. So yeah, really tidy. Here's your charge cable, type 2 to type 2. That's a 32 amp 5 meter cable that comes with it. And then looking on the inside, there are a few little white bits of paint around which I couldn't get off. I've put new floor mats in, but move the paperwork, but generally, yeah, it's in really nice condition. There's a little bit of wear there on the passenger seat. Funny enough, it's quite strange. This has got more wear on the passenger seat than the driver's seat, none on the driver's seat. But the fabric on these Kangoo seats isn't particularly robust, so nothing to worry about. I've just got to point it out, of course. But yeah, the rubber floor and everything, really nice condition. It's only these little bits of paint on the plastic here, inside the pocket, a little bit up there, a little bit on the dash, a little bit on the back of the seat there, a little bit on the driver's seat. Oh, and up here there's a bit. It's only that lets it down. If you ignore that, it looks like a new van still, to be honest. And then looking around here on the driver's side, the door card is all good. There is a little bit of faint white paint there, and the driver's seat is great. You know, slight little sign of wear there, as you always get on these, and a little bit of white paint here and here. But yeah, the rest of it's all very good. And yeah, all the rest is fine. And new carpet mats in there, but the rubber floor was all good anyway, but I always put carpet mats in my vans. And then let's just jump in. So this does have 2 remote keys. It has also got 2 fob things here for the alarm. They blip on that unit that's mounted up on the dash, and then you've got 3 keys for the additional locks on all the doors. And I'll just start it up. Right, oh, got to select park. I didn't have it unparked. Let's turn the radio off. Right, so the mileage is 5,303 miles. So this one has got the factory radio, and being a phase 2, it's got the nicest stereo single slot CD, and it's also got Bluetooth, so you can connect your phone to it, which is much better. Doesn't have air conditioning. A lot of these Kangoo vans don't, because that was an extra. So these have got a resistive heating, so they do use quite a bit of energy in the winter. But what you've got is preconditioning, so you leave the control round to the timer function. On the dash you set what time you're going to leave in the morning, and while it's connected you charge it. It will get the van ready, so in the winter it will heat the van, it will melt the ice off the windows, and then when you disconnect you've still got 100% range, 100% battery, and you can generally do your journey then without the heating on at all. So that does make a huge difference. And in the summer it will also try to cool the van down. It just puts the fans on and moves the air. So a very good system. And what else can I show you? We've got lights, wipers, we've got audio controls there on the back of the steering wheel, and this is your gear selector. There's electric vehicles don't have gearboxes, but you have an automatic gear selector to make it familiar, and you drive it like an automatic. So you've got park, reverse, neutral, drive. And up here on the dash, this is your fuel tank, which is your battery pack. It's showing fully charged. This is your power meter, so when you drive the needle will move around clockwise, and you want to sort of drive without it being in the red. And when you lift off the accelerator and you get that regen braking and you're charging the battery, that's when the needle drops round to the left side. Let me just swap hands, and I'll just use the buttons on the end of the stalk there. I was driving this yesterday because I always do a range test in the vehicles to make sure they're good before they go, and this one is pretty good actually. I averaged 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour, and I drove I've done about 1.5 battery full, so I've driven about 100 and what would that be, roughly 140 miles, something like that. So the range there is showing 78 miles. So yeah, the range, I did a test with this yesterday. I drove a full tank worth, and I did get exactly 78 miles to the charge. When I got back, the battery light was flashing down here, so you know it does still have some left in the tank. You just got to be a bit careful, because obviously I was driving around in circles and I didn't want to get stranded. But if you were driving back to your workplace or charger, then there is a certain amount left in the tank. So when I got back, I did scan the battery, and the battery still had 7.29% in it, which was roughly another 7 miles. So that means total 85-mile range. So that was in July. It was a reasonable evening. I didn't have any fans on or the windows open, but I was driving normal road speeds. Most of it was sort of 50 to 60 miles an hour on A roads and a bit of country. I wasn't doing any city driving, though, stop start driving. That's what vans really like, because your speed is lower and you're getting that regen. So I proved that this one does do you know, somewhere between 80 and 85 miles, which is very good for one of these at this age. I also did scan the battery pack, and the battery is currently showing 98% state of health, which is very good as well. So I'll just show you the paperwork. This has 2 keys, as I showed you before. No previous keepers. It came from the Mighty Group PLC, but it was an auto lease vehicle. And the registration date is the 31st of the 3rd 2014. We've got some service check sheets there, 2 of those, and we've got the MOT printout I did. So the MOT has expired on this, but this vehicle's actually MOT exempt, so there's no legal requirement to get an MOT done. Let me just show you, on the last MOT there was an advisory that the tyres were perished. Hence why I've changed all the tyres. So it done 3,500 miles, and it's now done 5,300 miles. So I haven't got a new MOT done because these are exempt, but if you want one, then there's no problem getting one done before the van is delivered. So we've got all the books. We've got here the books on the alarm and the locks and the radio. So we've got everything you need. We've got the quick start guide, and we've got the user handbook with the security sticker in the back. And the service stamps, we've got 3 service stamps. Have just serviced the vehicle. It's had a new cabin filter, because that's the only serviceable part actually on a van, and new wiper blades, and obviously the new tyres. Servicing on these is every 2 years or 24,000 miles. But we'll see here if I go round to the servicing, 23,909 miles time. Yeah, the servicing on these is little more than an inspection, and the only serviceable part as such is the pollen filter. So once these are out of warranty, you know, there's no requirement really to service them, because it is only a pollen filter change. So I'll next just talk about charging. The charge point is on the front here. It's AC type 2 connector, the same as a Renault ZE, and these do not have rapid charge facilities. So charging on these is typically about 5 hours, I think. It charges at 3.6 kilowatt. So typically overnight or top-ups throughout the day, but what you can't do is that 20 to 30 minute rapid charge on a Renault Kangoo. So these are no good for the long distances, so you're limited realistically to that daily range of 70 to 80 miles or so, unless you're going to do top-ups at your workplace. throughout the day, then effectively you could double that. But they're no good for the long distance or the motorway driving because you don't have a rapid charging facility on the Kangoo. But what these are ideal for is in London, really, because you couldn't do that many miles in a day anyway in the middle of London. And of course these are tax exempt, they're MOT exempt, they're exempt from the congestion zone charge, and they're also exempt from the new low emission zone as well. Also, if you're in London, there is also the Transport for London scrappage scheme. So if you're going from an older diesel to a fully electric vehicle like this, you can actually get £6,000 grant. So there are terms and conditions for that. You've got to be a small business or a sole trader, self-employed, that sort of thing. But all the information is on the Transport for London website. But if you're driving an electric vehicle in London and you're going into the zone every day, then these vans pretty much pay for themselves in about a year or so, because you're going to save about £8,000 a year anyway on congestion zone and low emission zone charges. So we've got the charge cable, as I said, that's a type 2 5-metre charge cable, so you would use that to connect to your home or workplace charger or a public charging post. So if you want a home charger or workplace charger installed, they now start from £300. They have to be smart now to qualify for the OLEV grant, but the government pay £500 towards that, so they end up costing you 300 quid. I can organise that. They take about 2 weeks or so to get installed. And I will also provide a portable charger with the vehicle. What I do is a free loan of those, so that allows you to charge the van on a normal 3-pin plug, so it will always be charged overnight and be ready for the morning. It means you can start using the van straight away and charge it anywhere off a normal plug. And then after you've got your home charger installed, if you decide you no longer want that portable charger, you can send it back to me and I'll give you a full refund, so it's ended up being a free loan. But the full details of that are on the website. So if you're interested, then give me a call or email. As I said, I can deliver these anywhere in the country. Just let me know your postcode and I'll work out delivery charge, and it will come to you on a flatbed, fully charged and ready to use.